when I originally moved to North Carolina, I lived in Raleigh first, and I worked for Scott Crawford, who's a fucking baller.
Yeah.
I mean, straight up baller. For a short period of time, I worked for Scott Crawford for like 4 months, and that like changed my view on a lot of things. It was a very influential experience for me, and he's very true to his menu is dictated by whatever's in season.
Right.
Like whatever's on his menu is whatever you can get at the farmer's market. His CDC was always going to the farmer's market. That's what we put. That's what we were cooking. So for me, that was the first time I really saw that. I also worked for Andrea Rusing, who was very strict on like almost to a fault sometimes supporting farmers. Like she would we would buy sometimes. That was the first time I was ever in a meeting where we had a conversation about how many cows we were going to kill for a year. I was like, that's cool. So it doesn't come in a box. I don't know how many fucking cows we need for the year. I have no idea, you know? But that was an eye-opening experience for me. But I think, Raleigh does a better job of being more, I guess, agriculture-driven in the industry than Charlotte. Charlotte's a bit more commercial. You have a lot of, like, big-money restaurants, highly funded restaurants because it's a huge financial district, right? So it lacks that, like, chef-driven, agriculture-driven scene. So for me, my goal would be to shed more light on that, right? So to pay attention to what's growing locally and focus on that and drive my menus based off of that, because it's sad that the agriculture scene is so advanced and the restaurant scene is so behind.
Right.
And like that's the biggest thing for me because, and I say this confidently, like if not just you, but a lot of the other chef friends that I have in this city had access to the agriculture that I have access to in North Carolina, like the food would be even better here than it already is, which is fucking wild to say, because having access to product like that and not giving it the respect that it deserves is extremely sad. So, not even respect, like not using it is like wild, like buying your produce from broadliners, from produce companies, and not just like, this is what we're cooking this week because this is what our farmers have. It's fucking wild to me. Because like the hard work is that, truthfully, like people are like, we had like a broccolini dish on the menu. It was literally broccolini with a sauce and breadcrumbs, toasted breadcrumbs. It was bullshit to make. And people were like, it's the best broccolini I ever had. And it's like, cool. That's what. I mean, it's cool that that's the best broccolini you've ever had. But like I did nothing. I made a sauce and it's just good broccolini. So like half of the hard work comes from like what they do out in the fields, what they do out in their day to day, right? So for me, that just drives me nuts on a constant basis because like we have access to a lot of incredible product that people just don't really care about, which is sad. And that's like a Charlotte thing because in Raleigh, it's very different. Like Raleigh, like the farm scene is like strong.
Well, I mean, I dined in both places. Raleigh there's good food there.